Welcome to another video game deep dive with my art style through my lens. So before we get started, my name is Ivan Florentino Ramirez. Welcome to my channel, The Lens of Truth. If you're new to my channel, hit the like button, ring the bell, leave a comment, subscribe, and let's get to it. The Dead Hand. A disgusting, scary-looking monster from The Legend of Zelda, the Ocarina of Time. Anyone who has played this game back in the day knows what a terrifying monster this is and what a surprise of a character design it was as well. And with one of the biggest Zelda releases with The Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom 2 years ago, and now The Legend of Zelda, Echoes of Wisdom out as a top-down 3D game. Those were two missed opportunities, in my opinion, to bring this iconic enemy back into a fully realized HD 3D game. Or if anything, something similar to it. Because not only was the Dead Hand a surprise back in the 90s, I feel like it would have been a perfect time to bring it back, especially in Tears of the Kingdom, where there was going to be a lot of caves and underground areas where it was really spooky with the unknown and dark areas. This would have been a huge surprise to have a version of a Dead Hand underground where it was unsuspecting and even could have had some different variations, maybe different sizes, and even a full-on open world boss area where you just happen to walk in and one of the hands grab you. But that was just something that could have been awesome and a memorable Zelda moment. And even the lack of Skulltulas, another original and iconic enemy from the series, hasn't returned in a long time in a mainline Zelda game like Tears of the Kingdom. Now, before we get started on how I made this drawing, let's get into a brief history of this creature and where it came from. So this enemy was part of the iconic release of The Legend of Zelda, the Ocarina of Time on the Nintendo 64 way back in 1998. And it is one of my favorite Zelda games ever. And it is now available to play on the Nintendo Switch in the Nintendo 64 NSO Classics app. And also it was re-released and upgraded as The Legend of Zelda, the Ocarina of Time 3D for the Nintendo 3DS as well. And if you haven't already checked out my entire playlist of fan art drawings, Zelda is one of the most that I've done for these types of drawings and explaining certain creatures, enemies, and things like that as a video topic because of the creativity of the series. This dead hand monster located at the bottom of the well in The Legend of Zelda, the Ocarina of Time in Kakariko Village was a huge surprise and memorable moment for its terrifying look with its pale white skin and blood-covered blotches and scratches on its entire body, with its claw-like hands, huge teeth, and long arms that pop out of the ground. And once defeated, you are rewarded with the Lens of Truth, a classic item from The Legend of Zelda that I named my entire YouTube channel around as we take a closer look at the art in video games. This was such a surprise and creative enemy design that never came back in any subsequent Zelda titles. This was just a very quick sketch that I created in my tiny sketchbook using Micron ink pens, Faber-Castell ink pens, and Prismacolor markers, all just in black and white and gray tones. This black and white art style is just one of those things that I like to do with this tiny sketchbook, because I just wanted to create this young Link and the dead hand and kind of see how imposing and scary it would be and how it was in the game facing it off. And I wanted Link to have his back turned and just staring at this hideous monster. And because I wanted to add some color to this, I went ahead and took a picture of it. I sent it to my iPad Pro and used the Apple Pencil 2 to digitally color this. And this gives me a lot of options to play around with colors, textures, and lighting as well. So let's get on to part 2. The convenience of going to digital is correcting anything that looks a little off when it comes to this small drawing that I did. So I went ahead and fixed the corners of the paper, fixed a little bit of imperfections using the clone tool. I can go really into detail by zooming in, cropping anything that I don't like, using the clone tool, the liquify tool to push anything in and out, making things bigger, and creating layers upon layers so that I'm able to experiment with the shadows, the lights, colors, and other textures independently from one another, and I can erase if mistakes are made or if I just decide to make any other changes. So one of the first things I did was play around with the blood and all of those scratches and bloody blotches that he has, all those scars. This thing looks pretty cool, so it's gonna look even creepier once I color this, and it's actually looking scary with its just white flesh and red tones. And I experimented with this zombie skin, normal skin, and this leather type of texture brush that's already in the Procreate app, and it just makes it look a little bit better and a bit more texture than just using a plain soft airbrush. And with young Link right here, I decided to use this old skin type of texture just to kind of make it a bit more interesting for his green tunic. But I went ahead and used it almost all over his entire body, and just using different colors for his shield, his boots, his skin tone, and his hair. And what I saved for last was the skin of the dead hand. So all of you Zelda fans, do you remember watching this dead hand for the first time in the Ocarina of Time? Do you want it to come back? Comment down below if you have a specific enemy you want to return. As for me, I just want several different enemies and just a variety of them to be underground, in the sky, and on the land section of the game. Since it's going to be 3 tiers from what it looks like, it'll be really cool to have a variety of enemies at those 3 different levels. So towards the end of this video, this is more of a time lapse. It's very sped up, and one of the last things I decided to do was the background and foreground, and I decided to use the colors that were in the well of the game. So it's going to be a brown ground with a murky green tones for the background, and then so it's going to have a very sewer-like look with the green and brown, but it just came out really well. Everything just came together. And I played around with different skin tones as well. And for the dead hand skin, I went over it with several brushes, and I used the different layers on top of it so I can play around with the shadows and lights as well. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching my video, and there's a lot more Zelda related content on the way. So stay tuned and see you later. Bye.